What's going on, Dolphins? It's your boy Dillon. Got a few things to talk to you about today. I also have an Adam Gase press conference, but I got a couple things I definitely want to talk about. So first of all, as I reported to you yesterday in my recap video, Jakeem Grant got hurt. We, had initially for sure believed it was an Achilles injury since he was, kind of nursing an Achilles. It looks like there aren't any firm reports yet on timetables or any specifics, but it doesn't look like his injury is going to be season ending. Hopefully, not requiring surgery. They don't believe he tore his Achilles. They don't believe that is the injury. So they believe it's something else. Or a lesser injury. So we'll see. But like I said, I don't have a whole lot of specifics for you at the moment. So as I get those, I will be sure to let you know. I'm, waiting on reports, checking, see. But I wanted to update you on that. Devontae Parker's got his shoulder injury. I guess they're checking that out to see what the extent is. But the good thing is we are on our bye and guys are going to be able to get healthy. Hopefully, I don't know if Grant's going to be back for the Colts game or not. But, if we can get him back sometime this season, that would be great for sure. This team has to stop getting hurt, man. It's crazy. I think it's really just super unlucky. Anyway, I'll get to that in a second. Also, Adam Gase spoke a little bit about Tannehill, said that he did some throwing, yesterday, I think. He did some throwing. They have him on a specific regimen of, rest and then, days of throwing. They have, pitch counts for him. They have distance restrictions on him, on how far he can throw, and they're doing, it progressively. But they said he's in a good spot right now. He apparently did well with the day of throwing that he did. He was feeling all right, so that's good. Hopefully, we need Tannehill to be ready for this upcoming game. I don't care what you think of him, or whatever, but Tannehill will give us a chance to win a good portion of the remaining 6 games on our schedule. And just real quick to talk about that again, I know it's kind of been, stressed a lot and it's been beaten to death, but look, out of the quarterbacks that we have, Tannehill is definitely the best and gives us the best opportunity to win. Brock Osweiler should absolutely not play another game for us. Unless it's seriously spot duty down the way for some reason. If we're blowing a team out and, we wanted to rest the starter or something, maybe. But if Tannehill for some reason is not ready to go against the Colts or will not be ready, then they need to put David Fales in, or they need to get somebody else. That's how I feel. And I absolutely agree with that. As long as Tannehill's healthy, though, I do think that he should start, and I think that he is more than adequate. Everybody gives him so much shit, but I think that personally, I believe that he is a good quarterback that can do a lot more than people think that he can. If you just look at, if you look at his tape and if you look at, his stats and all of that over his career, and if you put all the factors in together, the constant changing in coaching staffs and the fact that he was the most sacked quarterback for 4 straight years from his rookie year to his 4th year, so on and so forth, right? And then just the unfortunate breaks now, he's finally, him and Gase finally start get things going in 16, and then an unlucky hit to his knee and he tears his Achilles, or his ACL, and then Again, I've said it before. Yes, they should have done surgery sooner. They should have just knocked it out of the way, but he still would have been out for like half the year at least in 2017. It wouldn't have been enough to, it probably more than likely would not have been enough to, you know, save the season and get us to the playoffs. You know, we maybe could have won a couple more games. Maybe we would have gone 8-8, maybe 9-7. Sure, that's better, but it wouldn't have been really anything. They tried to, I understand their approach. They tried to see if they could have him for the entire 2017 season, and worst case scenario, you know, instead of having him for half a season in which it wouldn't really make a difference, then we'll just, you know, bring him back in 2018. 2018 started out well. We had a really good team. They finally had, you know, tons of skill guys around him, a good offensive line, good running backs, good receivers, good tight ends. It was all, everything was lined up. And then the one thing happened that we couldn't have happen. Two of our most important guys, you know, that we brought in the offseason go down. And they were on the offensive line. Our center, Daniel Kilgore, and our left guard, Josh Sitton. The first 2 games of the season. And then after that happened, because our offensive line got so fucked up and it was porous, and Tannehill started getting pressured and stuff more, and then once Tunsil went down in that Cincy game, it was fucking basically game over. Because that's what, you know, it was a domino effect. So here's one thing that I try and get people to understand, right? Is you have to understand that everything is connected together, right? So the reasons for why things are going the way they are now is directly, you know, attributed to all of the things that have already happened, right? And you have to put everything into the proper context. So, you know, once Sitton and Kilgore went down, Tannehill was starting to get pressured and sacked more, right, again, and that's what happened in the Cincy game. And real quick, to make a point about those two interceptions for touchdowns that he threw in that game to lose the game, look, okay, here's the thing. Time and time again, I've heard people criticize Ryan Tannehill because he didn't throw the ball away, and he just hung on to it and took a sack. Okay? I have heard so media people, fans talk about how, oh, he should have threw the ball away instead of taking the sack there. Now, if you watched this past game with the Packers, Brock Osweiler just took sacks like a cowardly little girl. Okay? He just, as soon as he saw pressure coming, he would just like tuck and die basically. Okay, Ryan Tannehill, if you watch his tape, that dude, and part of the reason why, you know, he was, for the first 4 years of his career, labeled this, you know, like Iron Man, basically, was because he would stand in there and take these crazy hits and still deliver the ball. Ryan Tannehill does that. He sticks in there for this team. People don't give this dude enough credit for the blood he literally sheds for this team. He was pissing blood at the end of, I think, I don't know, it was either year 4 or year 5. Or no, it was in 16. It was at the end of, was it 16? Yeah, because I think it was Gase's first year. Anyway, he was, you know, towards the end of one of, you know, his seasons, he was literally pissing blood, you know, because he was taking such a beating. But he stays in there and he throws the ball accurately and he makes things happen, man. That's why if we give this dude a fucking offensive line and weapons, he can do amazing things for us, especially because he's very mobile. He's great throwing on the run. This dude has everything that we need. It's just, God damn it, man. Like I said, the first 4 years of his career, he was the most sacked quarterback. Joe Philbin was a terrible head coach, as far as I'm concerned. And then it was just been constant changeover, turmoil and stuff. And then, like I said, he's just been super unlucky. He's been super unlucky, you know, because when things finally started going, he tears his ACL. And then this year, everything was good, and then just a domino effect. down goes the offensive line. Then he goes out, right? And since he's been out, it's just been one thing after another. And these injuries this year, okay, so I'm going to transition over into something else I wanted to talk about based off of a comment that I got. So, it was a comment by KBM Phins, and he was basically saying that he said that he thinks I might be right about not like firing the training and conditioning coaches and stuff like that. First of all, when it comes to that, I think people, again, like the reasons for things, when people evaluate what's going on with this team and stuff, everything needs to be put into its proper context. First and foremost, I have been on the record as saying that I believe a coaching staff needs 5 years to truly be evaluated. The reason why, it's kind of the same concept as like draft picks. You need to give them some time because they need to get settled in. They need to get familiar and build a chemistry with the front office and with their players, right? They have to have time to get their guys in that they want. They need to build the culture that head coach wants, so on and so forth, right? And then you need to have some time to see a body of work, right? 2017 was just a mess of all kinds of stuff. It started because, we didn't have Ryan Tannehill, our quarterback, and Jay Cutler was not a good idea. I honestly would have taken Colin Kaepernick over him. Let's see. And then there was a whole slew of other things that went wrong that year. It was just one thing after another. And this year it's just been injuries. It's been straight injuries. We've had some, I'm not saying the team has been perfect. They haven't by any means, but a lot of that though, a lot of the mistakes that have been made and stuff is also because of injuries, because once you start getting to your third and then fourth string guys, I mean, what do you expect? Once you're, if you have to pluck guys off your practice squad every week, what do you expect? Right? So anyway, but he was basically saying though, there's we got to look at something, right? So in this situation, I don't think it's just so easy to find one thing and say that's the cause. I think it's a lot of things. I think that and frankly, so like, if I'll put it to you like this, if you went through every single injury that we've had, there's different reasons and different factors for each one. So I don't believe that there's going to be a commonality between all of them that you can say, oh, it's this one thing, let's get that fixed. There's a lot of things that probably need to be fixed. And I don't think by any means that any of the front office or coaching staff should be fired after this year. Well, maybe not any, if they want to make, some minor changes, but I don't think Gase or the offensive coordinators are necessarily the issue. I don't think this front office is the issue. I actually think that they've done pretty damn well, especially given the cards they've been dealt over the past couple years. I think they've done pretty damn well. Even this year, with the injuries that we have had this year, come on, guys. Being 5-5 and in the mix for the playoffs at this point in the season is not bad. And if you look at our schedule, there are a ton of winnable games. If we can get this team healthy and if we can get Tannehill back, dude, we absolutely have the ability to win 5 of our remaining 6 games and, make it to the playoffs. I know it seems crazy, I know it seems a lot, but we do, man. We absolutely do. And especially too if we can eventually get Jakeem Grant back, and if Devontae Parker is not going to be out too long, and so on and so forth. Anyway, but obviously we need to have some breaks. We need to start getting some breaks this season. We need guys to get healthy. That's the thing. But if we can get guys healthy, particularly Ryan Tannehill, then we stand a chance and the season is not lost. But even, with the cards that have been dealt, this regime has done a pretty damn good job weathering, no pun intended, the storms that they've had to go through, including a hurricane last year, right? So, But that's the thing, though. A lot of and part of the reason why I don't believe that these people should be fired and stuff is because, you know, I mean, so much of it is things that they just can't control, right? Things that you just absolutely, even with Coach Chris Forster last year, you know, people would be like, well, shouldn't you know? No. Why would Coach Gase know that this dude has a fucking cocaine problem? You know, I mean, unless there's some sort of obvious, you know, signs, right? Or if you catch him, then yeah. But how would you know? How would you know? You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. You just absolutely wouldn't know unless he came and told you that he does coke all the time. But I doubt that, right? So it was just one of those things. You know, he had his own personal problems. He was dealing with those outside of work, you know, well, not outside of work because he was doing coke at his desk. But you know what I'm saying, though? Like, he never got caught. He never, you know, it never got talked about or anything until the one time. And then it was handled, right? So anyway, my point is so much of the stuff is out of their control. So, and they've done a pretty damn good job. Okay, I still believe that the future for this franchise is bright with this coaching staff and everything, and with a lot of these players that we have. We do have an overall, you know, pretty young group. We get another, I think that the past few drafts have been really good overall, and I think that if we can continue that, then we'll be okay. And yes, again, just to reiterate, I think that we should absolutely draft a quarterback, you know, in the early rounds, maybe not necessarily the first round, you know, and frankly, ideally, what you want to do, and see, look, here's another thing. I'm gonna go back to the comment in a second, because I realize I didn't say everything I wanted to about that. But here's another thing, right? Ideally, everybody has it in their mind that you draft a first round or a second round quarterback and you just throw him in there and he's supposed to be amazing. Look, that's not how it's supposed to work. Even first round quarterbacks, ideally, you want to give them some time, you know, to sit. But and obviously, it's more often the franchises that, you know, haven't really been good in a while, so they're like, oh, we need a quarterback right now, blah blah blah, and he just needs to play and he needs to be great. But look at Sam Darnold, right? Look at most of the rookie quarterbacks, you know, when they come in, they don't, they're the ones that have, you know, incredible success immediately are few and far between. And when they do, it's usually because they go into a good organization with a good coaching staff and have good pieces and stuff around them, right? You know, they don't just go, whereas Tannehill came in with nothing. Tannehill didn't have shit. He didn't have a good front office and coaching staff. You know, Jeff Ireland, shit like that, Joe Philbin. He didn't have a lot of, you know, pieces around him. His offensive line was atrocious, and he didn't have a whole lot of skill guys. It was literally Ryan Tannehill had to be the fix for everything, and that's impossible. You can't expect that out of them. So ideally, we would want to get, you know, an early round quarterback, not necessarily a first round, but even if it was, get an early round quarterback, first through third, I'd say, and develop him under Tannehill. And in a few years, he can take over. And in the meantime, he can be a good backup for us. Instead of, and here's the thing though, draft a quarterback every year for the next few years. Next year, get one in, like, you know, the second or third round. Then the year after that, maybe third or fourth, you know, and then just every year, you know, just pluck one from somewhere. You know, you start getting some late round quarterbacks, right? And then you might get those Tom Brady gems in the late rounds, right? You never know. That's how you should do it with quarterbacks. That's the best way to do it, right? Draft and develop under a quarterback that, you know, can do good things for you. Ryan Tannehill can do good things. So going back to the comment, I think we do always need to evaluate. So no, we shouldn't be firing conditioning and training coaches. We don't need to fire anybody in the front office or in this coaching staff, right? The head guys. We don't need to fire Gase. We don't need to fire these people. We need to give them some time. a couple more years, if in 2 more years, I know everybody is like, oh, I just want to win now, win now, win now. But here's the thing. I personally would rather have sustained winning. To do that, you have to give the coaching staff and the regime time to develop that. You have to. It's imperative. Otherwise, you might get, like in 2008, you might get an awesome winning season, but then just completely flub the next year and do fucking terrible from then on, right? So, no, but we do always need to be evaluating. We always need to be self-critical, and we always need to be, honest about things. But it all has to be, again, in the proper context. And we need to not, as fans, we need to not let our emotions run away with us to the point where we just start pointing fingers in all kinds of crazy directions and saying that this, that, and the other is to blame for it, when it's not the case, when it's just factually not the case. So like I said, we need to keep level heads as fans, so that way when we evaluate these situations, we can evaluate them with logic and reason, and then, with the context, with the proper context, we are able to properly evaluate what the causes of, failures or problems or issues are. And then, because then you can actually fix things. If you go around, just pointing fingers, and if you happen to point a finger at something that's not really an actual issue, well, then you could actually end up creating more problems, right? Because if you try to fix something that's not broken, well, then maybe you break it, right? And if you don't properly identify the issues that are actually affecting things, well, then you won't actually be able to fix them. Now, here's the thing. Yes, let's evaluate the way that we train these guys and stuff. Let's keep figuring out, the best ways for them to eat and so on and so forth, and make sure that they're getting their proper rest and all that stuff, blah, 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 blah. Hydration, blah, 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 blah. All that stuff, right? Doing fucking yoga and Pilates and fucking all this shit. Being super healthy 100% all the time. Sure, keep doing that. But honestly, when it comes to the injuries, man, we've been super unlucky this year. I know it sucks, but that's it. There's nothing you can really say about it. There's no just one blanket fix for that. You want to constantly improve in all areas all the time, and you should. You should never be satisfied with where you're at. You should always want to improve. I take that approach in my personal life, right? So, and that's how they should do it. But unfortunately for that, there's no one, cure-all fix for it. So, this coaching staff needs to be given some more time. If in 2 more years they haven't, shown that they are going to be able to get things fixed, then maybe you hit the full reset on the entire organization, right? So if after 5 years of the regime that's been here, then they can't do it, and they're producing losing seasons and so on and so forth, then you wipe out everybody. Mike Tannenbaum, Chris Greer, Adam Gase, and everybody. And then you give that entire new regime at least 5 years. At least 5 years. Right? I think that's a fair approach. Anyway, okay guys, well, I've gone off for far longer than I really expected to. KBM Phins, I hope you like my rebuttal, I guess. It wasn't really a question, it was a comment, but I like the conversation. It's good. I do enjoy this. And, part of my role here, I believe, as, a YouTube channel host or whatever for you guys, I try and, because in my life, like I said, personally, I always try and grow and continue to always get better. And I like to choose, because I am a creature capable of making choices, that I like to choose to be on the brighter side of things and look at the positivity instead of the and be, stick with the positivity as opposed to the negativity. So I try and pass that on to you guys. So I hope that helps. I hope it lifts you guys a little bit. Hopefully it calms you down. And, you know, because, I mean, I get it. You know, I'm frustrated. I'm pissed. I'm, you know, all sorts of things. I was cursing Brock Osweiler, you know, up and down yesterday. I was saying I hate him, you know, but, I mean, look, the game against the Bears, he's shown that he can come in occasionally and do some good things for you. But that's it. Same thing with Matt Moore. Matt Moore was the same way. They are backups for a reason, okay? And they've proven to be only that. And that's fine. The league needs good backups, right? But that's what he's there for. He's meant to only provide you with small spurts and not long periods of time, unfortunately. You know, he's not one of those kind of backups that can do that. I know sometimes there are occasions which you need a backup to play in that role. Unfortunately, he's not one of those backups that can do that as well, that can win sustainably and perform well sustainably for you. You know, he's got too many flaws that he just apparently can't seem to overcome. Anyway, so that's why I definitely think that if Tannehill can't go, they do need to find another option, whether it's David Fales or somebody else, but not Osweiler. Anyway, I'm gonna cut it there, guys. I've gone off. I hope you guys enjoy the show. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you want to get the alerts to know when I post my videos, hit the bell. Make sure you hit the like button as well. I appreciate that. Keep leaving your questions, comments, concerns. As you see, I love to address them and talk about them. I love the conversation. I love the interaction. It's a lot of fun. Hopefully I can, you know, help lift you guys a little bit. Hopefully together we can, you know, we can grow and stay positive, and we can help push this franchise in the direction it needs to be. You know, because we are, you know, in a way, you know, part of it too. You know, just that, you know, we are the fan base, man, and you know, we gotta represent for this franchise and for our team properly, right? So let's raise up together, let's band together, and let's stick it out, man. Things are gonna get better. I hope you guys believe that. I believe that. And also too, make sure you follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is on the end screen. It's at Dillon Tartaro. And again, guys, keep this coming. I love interacting with you guys. And with that, I'm out. I hope you enjoyed the interview. I'll see y'all soon. Phins up.
Further down the road.
Bobby's in concussion protocol.
Yes.
Can you update us on Ryan playing with him this week?
Yeah, so he threw yesterday. You know, that was kind of the start of their throwing progression after so many days off, and it seemed like it went well. I mean, it's not like he's out there throwing 60-yard throws. I mean, they have a progression how they want to do it, but they said it was a good first step, and he felt good, so that's a positive.
How are your two tackles doing?
I'm not really sure quite yet. I gotta kind of get with those guys and see where we're at. I mean, rest is always going to be good for those guys, so this week came about the right time.
And with Ryan, do you think he'll throw every day, every other day? What's their plan?
Yeah, there's a good schedule they got planned out for, you know, the amount of time they can work this week. So we'll just progress through and then see where we're at next Wednesday.
Adam, it seems as if the one consistently positive area each week has been special teams. Can you talk a little bit about that and the factor they played Sunday and in general?
Yeah, that was a big point of emphasis for this game. Was we had to get something going there. We needed some kind of, whether it be a turnover, return, you know, we needed some kind of steal the possession type moment. We had more than one. You know, we just didn't take advantage of it. And it was close to being played out the way that we wanted to. We just didn't execute in the red zone, and we need to find a way to score a touchdown in the red zone, and then we need to find a way to either get one or two stops with the defense and hold them to a field goal. And then at least we're in a position at the end of the game to where it's either us or them with the ball at the end of the game trying to win it.
I'm sorry, and generally in special teams this year, what you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the one area that we've stayed healthy. where we got our guys that are our core guys are healthy and playing.
How much does the bye help, particularly with the time?
Well, we haven't had one in 2 years, so it's great.
Or with the timing?
No, I mean, I don't even know if we'd have enough for 46 this week. So it's probably the right time. It's just it's a long grinding season, and we wanted a late bye. I'd rather have it now than week 4. So I mean, I got no complaints about that. We just wish we would have stayed a little healthier leading up to this, but this gives us a chance to the guys that were kind of banged up to where they probably wouldn't have played this week. Now we got a shot to get more guys ready to go for the next one.
With the injuries, there's the obvious, you lose guys, but also you just been through so much uncertainty, like with the tackles this past week. Can you just talk about that and the degree to which you're handcuffed because you can't even plan?
Well, we have a general idea of how we can get to certain things. I mean, the way that the system is set up to where it's just a quick change in the protection of, all right, hey, we want to slide this way, or we want to do this kind of, these 3 got these 4, or these 3 got these 2, however we have it set up. And so we can make adjustments, up to the game, within the game, if something happened. So our guys have done a good job of handling those type of adjustments. It's a lot easier when you don't have to do that, when you can actually go into the game and what you think is going to be Wednesday ends up happening on Sunday. We haven't really had a whole bunch of those. It just seems something always comes up.
I know this is football, but the level of injuries that you guys have had this season is on a very high level. Have you looked at maybe need to be doing something different from a training staff standpoint, or?
We've looked at everything, because it would be one thing if we were having like all these soft tissue injuries. I mean, we're having like season-ending type injuries and it's always on game days. So I think a lot of it's almost across the league, where every week you see big name players going down, and I don't know if we've really been hit any harder than anybody else. It feels like it to us because we're here every day, and it's for me it's our team. So it's affecting like us directly. So I don't know if it's any different anywhere else. It feels like it is, but it's probably not. It's just, I wish I had an answer for you, because some of these are just unexplainable. Like when a guy gets tackled and, jacks his shoulder up, like how do you prevent that?
Adam, of the 4 fill-in offensive linemen, obviously Travis has been doing it for a while. Have you gotten a sense yet from tape who among that group played particularly well among Jake and the 2 tackles?
Those guys did a good job up front. I mean, they executed a lot of things in the run game very well. I thought for the most part the pass protection, when it was tight and it was more of a run-pass balance, those guys did a good job of getting those guys covered up. I thought there was a few times where it looked like I was worried that Zach maybe got beat by Clay, and he did a great job of pushing him around the quarterback. I mean, I thought those guys did a pretty good job of kind of getting thrown in there and, having to work together, where that 5 really hasn't done a whole bunch together.
Adam, what did the tape tell you about the hit on Bobby McCain?
I mean, I just know that it wasn't good for him, and there's nothing we can do about it. We'd rather that not happen. We'd rather not lose a guy.
What's your thought process on how you're approaching this week with the players?
They're done. They're gone for the week.
Is that part of it because of all the injuries, or is it?
I mean, we played 10 games.
6 games to go, you're in the mix. What needs to change?
I think it's really for us, it's get healthy as much as we can. And if we can find a way to kind of clean up our red area stuff on offense, eliminate the explosive plays on defense. I know that sounds like a broken record, but that's what this season's about, is can we get those type of things fixed to give ourselves a chance that week to win? And it becomes a one-game season. I mean, there are certain teams where we know that have kind of separated themselves from the rest of the pack, but right now the only thing that's really been eliminated for us is an undefeated season. Everything else is on the table. I mean, other teams are having a lot of the same issues we are, and it's really who can pull it together this last 6 games and find a way to get in.
With the run game philosophy, did you get the right mix with Kenyon in there?
I mean, I don't know. It's never going to be perfect. You know, we're trying to get those two guys in there, get them as many touches as we can. Frank's doing a good job keeping us ahead of the sticks. I think Kenyon does a good job of bringing us that element that he could take it to the distance anytime. You know, I'm trying to find ways to get him the ball where he can get space. You know, some of the outside zone stuff, he gets to the edge, but, you know, if we miss one guy on the second level, he's dealing with some traffic issues there. So we're trying to find ways to just get him the ball to where it's like him and one or two other guys in space to where if he can split them or he makes a guy miss, then maybe we got a chance for a big play.
And with Ryan, is your understanding, I know you paid attention to the medical stuff, but is your understanding that he can throw softly this week and practice next week and be ready to go for a game on Sunday?
Right now, it's such a one, because what we went through the last whatever weeks where it's like some soreness one time, they're trying to get it to where every day we're not getting him saying, I'm having pain. It's like the progression of when we hit Wednesday, hopefully we can get it to where now they're saying, hey, let him practice. This is where you need to keep the throws at. Or they just say, hey, let him go. He'll be all right. That's what I'm just waiting for, kind of those directives from those guys. And if we can get through this week and he feels great every day, then we got a shot.
With the throws, you're talking about a pitch count for the week of practice.
I think it's a pitch count, distance. I mean, there's a lot of factors going involved. It's just like what they're doing right now. It's like, all right, hey, don't throw any balls over 15 yards. Don't throw any over 20, 25. So, I mean, it's going to be a progression. I mean, he didn't throw a ball there for a while. So, I mean, we got to be careful because it's going to have to be a build-up from that.
Do you have any idea about how much distance he had on his throwing session?
I'm sure you'll find out.
Another one of your favorite topics, I'm sure, but you weren't asked about Rashad yesterday. Was that a difficult decision for you? What were the factors that you considered in going the route you did?
That's what I told him that I wanted to do, and he didn't have anything to say, and we moved on. I told him after this is done, we're done with it. We're moving on.
Alright guys, you've reached the end of my video. This is the end of the interviews. I hope you enjoyed those. I hope you enjoyed my show. Also, as a whole, if you did, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Make sure you hit the like button. And please share your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. I love interacting with you guys. It's for you. This is for you. You know, and also follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. It's on the end screen. My Twitter handle is on the end screen if you need to know it. And with that, guys, I'm out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.